How does Impark partner with property and asset managers to add value beyond simply managing a parking lot?
Many people aren't aware that parking is the second biggest revenue generator for properties. We unlock revenue from these assets and also enhance the customer experience within these parking facilities. Parking is the first and last impression of a building or experience if you're going to a show or flying somewhere. So seamless parking is top of mind for us even before the parker leaves home.
You were also a varsity volleyball captain. Has that early leadership experience in sports shaped who you are today as a leader?
Definitely. Looking back then, I don't think I was a great leader, but I learned lots from others, both good and bad, around the type of leader I wanted to become. The piece that I carry with me often is most of my team has heard that we don't have room for a second string. We are going to be top performers. We're going to be in that A class for everything. And if you're not there, then we're going to get you there. You've got my commitment. Working with me, you will be better than when you came, but there's no room for B players.
Hi, everybody. This is Mastering Property Management. I'm Jared Sarbit, and today I have the honor and privilege of having Jacob Ohe on, Senior Vice President, Central Canada, Impark. Jacob, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Jared. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. Jacob, we've met a few times now, usually at the BOMEX conferences, and always connected with you really nicely. So I'm just so excited to finally get you on here. Let's get right into it. For those that may not be familiar, can you start telling us who Impark is and how it fits into the broader Reimagined Parking network?
Sure. Yeah. So Impark is a Canadian parking company. We've been around since 1962, and we are one of 5 main brands that exists under the Reimagined umbrella. All are solely focused on parking, and our footprint spans across Canada and the US. We've got some small operations in the UK. And the Impark brand is the only brand you'll find in Canada. Love it or hate it, we are here, we are Canadian, and we also operate the Impark brand along the west coast of the US. And then further into the US, we've got 4 other brands that operate down there.
Awesome. Wonderful. And for yourself, I mean, you've had an impressive and diverse career journey, from business development, HVAC strategy, to now leading Central Canada's operations at one of North America's largest parking management firms. What drew you to Impark and this industry, and walk me through some of the major milestones along the way?
Sure. So the Impark opportunity was one that found me. After completing my MBA, I was looking for a change, and my comfort zone is definitely within real estate of some type, coming from the facility management services or facility services. And previous to that, I'd worked in construction. So I was approached by a headhunter, and things worked out after I poked them. I've always been drawn to facility services, and it was just a great fit. So very excited to be here. Some milestones that stick out to me. Quite a few large business development achievements that taught me patience and attention to detail. Some of these big bids are massive, 100,000 cells in Excel for some of the large maintenance contracts. And these RFPs that we submit with Impark are well into the hundreds of pages. My MBA was a huge achievement. That was something I strived for my entire life. And then throughout my career, I think a big milestone is got to go to my wife, Brittany. She has been a constant inspiration, and she's also been the most amazing mother to our 2 kids. Another milestone, I think, is it felt like a bit of a turning point after COVID. People seemed to accept that they were working with flawed humans rather than robots. And so I think since then, it's felt like a kinder world to work in over the past couple of years. And that's been a fun place to explore.
Yeah, interesting. I love that perspective. And so, what can you go into that a little bit? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think that people seem to like working with people again. And there was a while where it was so focused on getting the job done, and we're still focused on getting the job done. I'm still focused on it being correct and done right and to the best of our abilities. But uh, a missed email is no longer the end of the world, or a fireable offense or things like that. There just seems to be some leeway that accepts humans for humans, and I really enjoy that.
I love that. I've had a few guests on the podcast that have said, it's the downtown office space is no longer corporate. Like, the gone are the days of the ties, and again, it was kind of after COVID. It was that post COVID, or I guess during COVID that kind of changed. And I love the touch that you put on there that as far as it's a people focused, no longer the corporate, not just about the bottom line, but it's about doing well and connecting with people and community along the way. So, yeah, very cool, very cool. How long have you been with Impark for?
Just over a year and a half now.
Okay.
Still fresh.
Yeah, great. Very nice. Very nice. If you can give me just 30 seconds of your time. First off, thank you for tuning in to the Mastering Property Management podcast. We truly appreciate you spending your time with us. This show is proudly sponsored by Picture Perfect Cleaning, where we believe in creating spaces that smile. If you're enjoying the insights here, I'd love for you to dive in a little deeper. We've put together a blog called 8 Common Themes in Property Management Leadership. It's packed with lessons we've gathered from top leaders in the industry. The link is included in the show notes for this episode. And while you're there, feel free to browse our website. See how Picture Perfect Cleaning supports property managers like you every day. Thanks again for listening. And now let's get back to the show. Looking back, what are some of the personal qualities do you think that you have played, that have played in getting you to where you are today?
One of my favorite things is to do is connect people. I think that's played a significant role in my success. I'm not afraid to reach out to someone or to introduce two colleagues to one another and see if there might be some synchronicity. And curiosity and the willingness to listen are qualities I try to practice every single day. I'm not saying I'm great at them, but I think they're so important. And shifting careers to Impark to work alongside some very tenured, very expertise people has been an excellent way to practice that. It's been very humbling.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but awesome. I think those are a few pieces.
Okay, very good. And that's exactly how we met. You reached out to me last year at Bomex Vancouver, just saying, hey, I saw you're going to be there. Let's connect and maybe go for a hike while we're there, which we never ended up doing. Yeah, but that really speaks volumes to your character and exactly what you just said. So that must go a long way, I imagine.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we've got a fantastic business community, and the people who have accepted my coffee invite have been always gracious with their time. So I encourage anybody to do it.
Yeah, really good. And going into your education, as you mentioned, you hold an executive MBA from the University of Alberta and a strong technical background from NAIT. How have those two sides of business and technical, influenced your leadership approach?
Hey, a good friend recommended a book called Range by David Epstein. And this book discusses the difference between T people and I people. And if you're not familiar, T people have breadth, while I people have depth. And both these streams of education have given me the confidence to speak to different types of people or groups. It's also exposed me to some incredible leaders. So I think just the experience, the confidence to connect people, and also go a little deep sometimes, it just makes me more well-rounded.
Yeah, really. So how do you connect that to your education? Is that was the education a foundation of your success today, or what did it give you to get to kind of where you are today?
Yeah, I think so. Both just open doors, right? If I'm going back to the T and I people, the MBA gave me the breadth, and the NAIT experience gave me the depth. Obviously very different, not talking about HVAC too much when I'm at Impark, but I have the confidence to dig into something technical. And on the flip side, I've also got the confidence to dig into something financial or operational, and then connect those who are better at it than I am.
Gotcha. Okay, now I understand where you're going with the T and I. Okay, that makes sense. Excellent. Impark has been around since 1962 and remains a major player in the industry. From your perspective, what's allowed the company to stay relevant and dominant over 6 decades?
That's a great question. I think there are two major factors that have kept us relevant and dominant. First, I think it's the people. The operations team at Impark are second to none, and no technology can replace the need for boots on the ground, specifically for things like the line painting, the interaction when the gates go down, the concierge services. Like, right, it really, really is important to have those people. Those who work here are bright, dynamic, and focused, and they're committed to the team and the client. Second, I think, is the fact that we're equipment agnostic. We curate each parking solution for the building needs while working within the budget of the owner. And our goal is to combine all the right technologies for the site and give property managers the confidence that we're maximizing revenue and customer satisfaction, because that's critical at the end of the day. Rather than making money on service costs or network connectivities through a proprietary software or hardware.
Right. Right. Amazing. And your role, you're the vice president now. Is there a president of Canada, or are you the main guy here?
No, so I'm the senior vice president of Central Canada. There's an executive vice president that takes care of West and one that takes care of East, and we report into a chief revenue officer who is leads our Canadian leadership team.
Gotcha. And where's the head office based out of?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. Okay, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Awesome. You've led leadership roles across several sectors. What are the biggest lessons that you've carried into leading large teams and operations at a national scale?
I don't think it matters whether you like or agree with the leaders of your organization or your boss, but it does matter what you learn from them. And I've had wonderful leaders who I strive to be like, and I've had terrible leaders who I swear to never follow in their footsteps. So I think the biggest lesson is that leadership has to be done intentionally, both from what to do and a what not to do perspective. The other part that I would add is that creating or working in a place that has a resilient culture will accept leadership that's not perfect. And that is a very intentional part of my leadership. I want to work in a place that understands that I've got kids who have sick days and need me sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. So would you say that, like when you're managing, the people that are having hard times, or how do you approach that? Like, is it just being sympathetic and allowing them to take that time, or at what point do it becomes that they're abusing those privileges? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's a case by case basis for sure. Generally, those who are on my team, we've figured that out already. I can trust that my team there is not abuse, and if I feel that there's abuse happening to them, then we've got to have bigger conversations. But I trust my team inherently, and if something does pop up, it's just a conversation that we have quickly.
Sure, awesome. And how big of a team do you oversee?
So I've got 5 reporting into me, and there's a team of about 140 in Central Canada.
Okay. Yeah. Amazing. Very good. Very good. And so those 5 would oversee the 140. Is that what it looks like? Okay. Very good. Awesome. You were also a varsity volleyball captain, which I did in my digging. Has that early leadership experience in sports shaped who you are today as a leader?
Definitely. Looking back then, I don't think I was a great leader, but I learned lots from others, both good and bad, around the type of leader I wanted to become. The piece that I carry with me often is most of my team has heard that we don't have room for a second string, right? So the volleyball, there's typically the top 6, and then there's the bottom 6 or 7. We don't have space for that. We are going to be top performers. We are going to be in that A class for everything. And if you're not there, then we're going to get you there. You've got my commitment. That's another thing that I tell to my people is, working with me, you will be better than when you came. And but there's no room for B players, right? We need to be at the top of our game constantly.
Yeah, that's a great approach. We have a philosophy that you're always focusing on your the bottom. You spend 80% of your time on the bottom 20% of your people, and so imagine what it would look like if didn't have that bottom 20%. And so we have a philosophy of hiring slow but firing fast. And
Yeah.
if those people aren't performing, they can't be on your team. And sounds like that's a philosophy you took maybe from volleyball, where there's you can't, because that one player on the court can dramatically affect the results.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I find lots of leaders like to make parallels between their organization and the Marines, usually, because the Marines just have this leadership where that you're covered, and then there's friendly fire internal. And I don't have patience for that. I was chatting with our chief revenue officer last week, and we were talking about unity, and how unified the Canadian leadership team is, and the recollection there was just incredible. And we've not once had to double back to see if something was done that the other person said they would do. It's just inherent trust from minute one, and that is a privilege. I work with some phenomenal people, and yeah, so it's a privilege.
yeah, no kidding. That's incredible. So parking management has evolved tremendously in recent years with technology, automation, and sustainability practices. What innovation are the most exciting to you right now in the parking space?
That's a tough one. Two things come to mind. One is the sustainability. I am very excited about how we can use less energy, print less paper, throw away less steel. Those types of things very much speaks to what's important to me personally. But then I think the automation piece, where we can integrate everything to our phones ultimately, right? How can we interact with our parking garage and not have to roll down the window in February? That really interests me. So is there anything groundbreaking that I'm seeing coming into Alberta right now? No. But I think that there is an improvement from an equipment perspective, and I think it's just going to get better and sharper.
Yeah, amazing. Is there a technology that allows you to not have to roll down your window in February?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And more is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds very nice. Yeah, you got your friend in the back there. You can hear it.
Yeah. Tap dancing here.
Yeah. There's a friendly podcast, so he's welcome. Yeah, awesome. So Impark operates thousands of parking facilities across North America. How do you balance local client relationships with such a large operational footprint?
I think our account management approach is unique to the industry. We have vertical specialists that manage aviation, health, or municipalities, and EVPs like me that cover regions like mine. So while we operate across North America, we have a leadership team focused entirely on Canada. And I think a big piece is I ask my team to be visible in the community and the market, because my goal is to have the best industry relationships in the market.
Beautiful. How does Impark partner with property and asset managers to add value beyond simply managing a parking lot?
Many people aren't aware that parking is the second biggest revenue generator for properties, right? And second to occupancy, right? And it makes sense when you think of it, but when you look at a building, you're looking at whose name is on what floor, not who parks underneath, right? Or the number of stalls. So we unlock revenue from these assets and also enhance the customer experience within these parking facilities. Parking is the first and last impression of a building or experience if you're going to a show or flying somewhere. So seamless parking is top of mind for us even before the parker leaves home. And these are some of the trends we're seeing and adapting to as the next generation of parkers is securing and paying for their parking before they've even left their kitchen table.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's very good. You also sit on boards for the YMCA of Alberta, and the Jessica Martel Memorial Foundation. Maybe if you could tell me a little bit about both of those, and how do these community roles influence your perspective as a business leader?
Sure. So the Jessica Martel Memorial Foundation is a domestic shelter. It is one of the only all gender domestic shelters in Alberta. They're just outside of Bourneville. I believe they've got 16 beds, 16 rooms, and they've just opened a second stage housing. So I'm very proud to be a part of that one. And then the YMCA of North Alberta, many of you know or are familiar with. What I didn't realize until I started digging in was how large of a childcare provider they are. So they're the largest childcare provider in Northern Alberta. So being involved in the safety of our community members and in the development of our youth is really important to me. And I think being well-rounded and connected to the community has always been important. And I think it's easy to lose your track. So saying that I would volunteer every Friday while sounds fantastic. I've lost track of that. So being involved in these community engagements and endeavors has been a really good way for me to give back to the community. And working with the not-for-profits has been a really different perspective for the communities that we live and work in.
No kidding. Why the Jessica Martel Memorial Foundation? Was there something personal there, or what got you on there? It's
Yeah, you know what? I had a good leader suggest I should get involved in something like that,
wow.
and this was the one that she directed me to at the start.
Wow.
Yeah. So there is some personal connection there as well, but that was kind of what sparked it.
Amazing, really nice. When you look across the commercial real estate landscape, how do you see parking evolving over the next decade, particularly with EV adoption, urban planning, and changing mobility habits? What does that look like?
That's a great question, and I like looking at that every few months. Technology, urban planning, and mobility habits continually changing. What's interesting is they're constantly influenced by industry, governments, and consumers. So over the next few years, I anticipate we see a change in parking utilization from moving away from a car parked in a stall all day to that same car maybe doing errands or completing trips, or maybe most people don't even own that specific car, but we're storing fleets after hours or charging EV fleets. I don't know, but I do think that the populations of downtown will continue to increase. I think that micromobility will continue to have a high user base. And I think that the conversion of office space to residential apartments or condos will continue to increase. And that may lead to fewer cars on a transient basis. So development too, right? At Edmonton and Calgary, you're in Calgary, I'm in Edmonton. We're seeing fewer and fewer surface lots as they change, and fewer requirements for those parking stalls to support the buildings that are taking their place.
Wow, interesting. I love the idea of storing the cars, because you cannot hit on something that, when I'm not thinking about work, I am imagining a world where things are headed, and I'm looking at what Elon Musk is doing, the self-driving cars and all of that, and will we own a car, or can we just put it in our phone to come pick us up, and it'll drive us to where we want to go, and it'll drop us off, and there'll be significantly less cars on the road, I imagine. But I love the idea that you said is where they have to go somewhere. So where do they sit? So that's probably a big opportunity for companies like Impark to house those vehicles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very cool. And that, I don't know if I'm right about that. That's just my imagining the future, but yeah,
it's fun to imagine.
It is. Yeah. What advice would you give property managers who may underestimate the strategic importance of parking in the tenant and visitor experience?
Yeah, so I think the value of a good parking operator is not to be overlooked. Spend some time with your operator, learn the levers of their business, or give us a call at Impark. I have to put the plug in there. So unlocking some value or visitor experience really is critical. So I think there's always opportunity, thinking outside of the box, right? Some imagining, like we were just talking about.
Yes. Very cool. And what's one piece of advice that you'd give someone looking to grow into a senior leadership role in operations or real estate services in any way?
I've touched on this a little before, but I think collectively we seem to be losing the art of conversation. If anyone is looking to advance their career in operations or real estate services or beyond, I recommend they intentionally and actively expand their network. I live in Edmonton and we have an incredible business community. I'd recommend they not be shy. They reach out to someone for a coffee or just to pick their brain. In my experience, Jared, people are so proud to share their journey and what they've learned along the way.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, sir, for a little bit of fun questions, if you had the opportunity to completely reimagine the parking and access experience for any iconic building or destination in the world, which one would that be, and why?
No iconic building comes to mind, but I'm going to put some more thought into that. I do think of airports. I think of sports stadiums or any other space that micromobility is a large factor. I think the integration and utilization of space, even from a community perspective that continues to evolve and create opportunity, is fun, right? I think there's so much. How can we take a parking lot and make it someplace that people want to visit, right? I know that sounds silly, but right now they're just necessary evils to some extent. So, yeah, I'd look at changing things at one of those.
Very cool. Very cool. I have to say, I don't know if you've been to Chinook Mall before, but here in Calgary, but I always had this idea of being in the cleaning industry myself that we should do a cleaning in the parkade. As people are shopping, their car gets cleaned, detailed inside and out. And sure enough, I was thinking about this maybe 10 years ago, and sure enough, it's there now. I have no idea if it's a profitable venture or not. But I imagine there's some pretty creative things that you could do in a parkade that, we haven't even thought of yet, but that was one of them. I thought that was really smart.
We support some neat ancillary services and anything like there are some parking stalls that you rent on a monthly basis that when it's a gate inside a gate. And when you get to your gate, it calls the elevator down to your floor. So those are the fancy ones.
Cool.
But we'll do laundromat services. We'll detail your car. We can pick up groceries. So absolutely
Very
lots
cool.
of opportunities.
Really cool. And then finally, you did already recommend a book, but I don't know if you have another one. But if you could recommend any book, to your fellow, property managers or people in the real estate industry, what book would that be and why?
Yeah, so I don't have one specific to property managers, but I think everybody could benefit from two of my favorite books. So I've already given you range. I'll give you two more. Good Leaders Ask Great Questions by John C. Maxwell and Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. So Good Leaders Ask Great Questions is pretty self-explanatory. I believe if we led with curiosity, everyone benefits. And Hidden Potential is more about play in your day-to-day. And it showcases the seriousness and how case studies, typically sports, have taken a hurdle and gotten around it through play and experimentation. And I think if we sprinkled in some play and made sure that our teams knew it was okay to fail the odd time through trying things, I think we would get to some new heights.
I love it. That's great advice. Our team's going to the doing an escape room tomorrow.
Awesome.
So yeah, looking for those little opportunities once in a while to, like you said, play.
Good for you.
Has to be there. Yeah. And I love the Good Leaders Ask Questions. Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, right? It sounds like such a simple concept, but that was one of the key learning lessons in my early years of leadership was, managers tell people what to do, but leaders ask people, and ask questions. And when I unlocked that concept, that was a pivotal moment in my career. That's for sure. So yeah, good books. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, hey, Jacob, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I'm really grateful for having to get to know you over the last few years. And I wish you all the continued success as you continue to work with Impark and your journey and all of that. So
Thanks, Jared. It is an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much.